Hello, everyone, and welcome to my weekly show. I say this because unfortunately Andy is away, and of course, he chooses to be away at a time where there is just a massive amount of comics this week. So, anyway, welcome to our day early comic review show. I'm Jason with Infinity Flux Comics, and every week after the comics have arrived at our store, we bag, we board them, and then typically Andy and I read them all and we do a quick, what we call a spoiler free review show. But unfortunately, he's away, so I will try to do this myself from spoiler light. What I mean by that is we're going to tell you the collectible reasons you might want these books, first appearances, sort of major events, but we're not going to give you such a play by play that you won't have a good time reading these on your own. More than that, especially with the number ones, we're going to tell you more about what they, I'm already speaking in the plural, I'm going to tell you more about what they really are about than you could have read about in like an ad or a solicitation or something like this. So you can see I have the first six I'm going to go over in front of me. I have all their variants and incentives off to the side. I think all said and done, today I'm going over 20 books on my own. However, there's even more than that there's no way I have time to get to all of them that I will mention at the end. So without further ado, I'm going to launch into this so that hopefully I can get through this before my store closes. So the first book I'm going to talk about is Timeless. I'm always really excited for these new Marvel Timeless books. Every year they release them. Every year they give sort of a glimpse into the next year of stuff in the Marvel Universe. This one was maybe the best one yet, though. Out of I think they've done them. This is maybe the third year running, because Jed McKay's writing this one. He's one of my favorite writers at Marvel, and he does a more cohesive story through it. I would say if there's a double-edged sword to it, there's maybe a little less of the panel showing the future of the Marvel Universe. So, of course, our main character in this is Kang the Conqueror. He's a perfect character to go throughout time. He's searching for something called the missing moment. It is 1 second in time that he is unable to access. And in this book, we learn that this second is the catalyst where whoever can get to it can start on a quest to find like the greatest item in all of history. No, that is not revealed in this, but that is at least tells us a little bit more about this missing moment. Now, this does have a major first appearance. It's a first appearance of a character called Mirden. I'm not even going to spell it out. It's easier to sound out than spell it. It has a Y and several R's that are in a row. Mirden is sort of a weird play on phrase from Merlin, though. He's clearly sort of a Merlin like character. In fact, it's the first appearance of Murden and his Knights of the Twilight Court, which are all based on Arthurian characters. So he has a whole court of knights. They all fight Kang, which is really cool. We know Kang is powerful. We know that he's going toe to toe with the Avengers since the '60s. But it seems like these days he doesn't get to fight large groups of people too often. In this, he has to fight all the knights one at a time. It's very cool. And as he does it, he jumps through time, and that's where we get our little in between shots of things that may happen in the next year of Marvel. I'm not going to tell you all of them, but some of them include Wolverine as a Ghost Rider. You may see it differently when you see the panel, but that's what I saw. It looked to me like Wolverine, but he is now kind of a Ghost Rider. I saw a three-fingered, two-toed black suit Spider-Man, and I also saw the return of the Super Pets being led by Throg. So that's just a few of the things. There are more of them. I felt like there were less in it than last year's. But then again, last year's they didn't get to all of it. So I feel like maybe they toned it back to what they thought they could get to. I know last year had like Mary Jane in a spider suit, like she was Spider-Man, and some of it, they did get to a lot of it. So that's generally what you will find in the Timeless One Shot. It is oversized. It's 96 pages, thus it is $9.99. But the story itself is great. That's what I'll say. Jed McKay's story of what Kang is up to and all the challenges he faces and everything is awesome. And this is going to lead into the new upcoming Avengers series for 2023, where they're going to continue on in the quest for the missing moment. So that is going to be a big overarching thing with the Avengers and Kang in next year. So this has art by several artists. Greg Land is one of the main artists, Jay Leistein and Patch Zurcher, and Salvador LaRocca. We have several variants to show you. So let's see. This is the Carnero variant. And then we have this is I think the one a lot of people are going to want the Ms. Minutes Todd Knock variant. Last year on Timeless, the cover was the first Ms. Minutes, and that one just sold like gangbusters. And then we also have a 1 in 25 Alex Maleev variant we're selling to our customers for $25. And a 1 in 50 Dodson variant we're selling to our customers for $45. Without Andy here, I'll be swapping these all around myself. Usually I'm doing it in the background while he's doing his next one. So this may take a little extra time, but we'll make it work. We're going to make it work. So the next one up is Action Comics issue 1050. It says in the bottom there, a new era rises. And that is because, so this, other than it being an anniversary issue because it's a 1050 issue, this is the one before 1051 where DC has promised that Action Comics format is going to change. What it's going to change to is it's going to be more of a super team comic, meaning it's going to follow different people of the super family. There's going to be multiple plot lines going on and multiple creators working on it. It's supposed to be a new jump on point for people who have fallen off or for people who just aren't reading. They're trying something different in their ever struggling quest to get people to like and read Superman again, which I'm all for. So in this issue, Lex Luthor does something. Okay, he has a superpowered individual, very powerful person with interesting power. He uses their power in a way that changes something very big related to Superman. I will not reveal that. That's taking it one step too far. But what I will say is it will change the way everyone outside of maybe the Justice League will interact with Clark Kent slash Superman going forward. It's a big deal. It's not such a big deal. You're going to see this on the pages of New York Times or something like that. It's not like a death of Superman moment. But if you're a comic reader, it is very important. It will bleed into any other comics he's in as long as he's talking with people outside the Justice League. So you will have to read it to see what exactly Lex Luthor does. Of course, Lex does it for his own twisted, like, humanity needs this reasons, but you also get the sense he does it because he hates Superman. And of course, there is a battle between them as well. Let's see, what else was in this issue? This also has a lead in to the upcoming Jonathan Kent miniseries. His series just ended a little while ago, and his next miniseries has sort of a lead in a few pages to it. This also has a very small lead in to Dawn of DC. The other thing I'd like to say is all the DC comics this week have a one-page tribute to Kevin Conroy that I thought was really good. It's not super long, but it's great that they did it. They have a really nice sort of paragraph write-up quote from Paul Dini, of course, and then also from another one from producer Alan Burnett, who helped produce a lot of the Batman stuff that Kevin Conroy voiced. So I really like the tribute there. So let's see. This one also has a lot of variants. So here we go. This is going to take me a bit of a minute. So let's see the variants. Here is the Lee, Williams, and Sinclair variant. Jim Lee and Alex Williams and Sinclair, they work on a lot of covers together. You'll see that today quite a bit. So um, then here is the Weeks and Anderson variant. Just very wholesome. Got the family all playing. Why can't they always stay that way? Well, when you have superpowers, people are coming for you. Here is the Yang variant. I like this one because it's so different than all the other ones. Here is, of course, the Zerdy variant. Definitely an up and coming, awesome cover artist. Here is the current variant. This is another one. Just two sweethearts sharing a milkshake, a super shake. Here is the Delato variant. Superman and Batman in temperatures as cold as we're feeling across the country right now. Here is the Raza variant. Then here we have the Alex Ross variant. Of course, an homage to Action Comics #1. A great homage to it. One of the best I've ever seen. And then I think it's like a buck more. There's a foil version of that variant. It looks really good in person. It's very hard to capture on camera, in a bag and board with lighting that isn't necessarily made for filming. We make do. And then there's a 1 in 25 John Boy Myers variant for $15. Swap them out. And what is next? Okay, next up, it is Star Wars, The High Republic, The Blade. So this is issue number one of what is it? Is it a four-issue miniseries, I believe? Yes. This is a four-issue miniseries. This is going to have the origin of Porter Engle, who is the Blade of Bardota. He is considered to be the best lightsaber fighter of all the Jedi. And so you're going to get his origin in this, but there's a pretty big first appearance. There's a first appearance of a character he considers his sister. All sources are saying it's his sister, but if you read this, you'll find out she's really not his actual sister. He considers her his sister, and her name is Barash Sylvain. He is also a Jedi Knight. So a lot of how you'll discover that is um, the story starts in the present, and it kind of shows how Porter Engle is able to deal with people. Like, he's a cook, okay? So he's a cook. He hears about trouble outside of his restaurant, and guess what? He's able to cope with it easily because he's so powerful and awesome. Well, from there, you go back 25 years and you see him at the Jedi Academy. You see him when he picks up his first lightsaber and he gets to kind of start learning with it. Well, that is where he meets the other character, Barash Sylvain. So she is not his sister. They meet in this, but he does call her sister throughout it. So I think throughout this four-issue series, it's going to explore what their real relationship is. Is he hiding that fact, or is it just sort of a term of endearment? But I thought I'd be probably the first person online to go ahead and report on that. Um, so that is generally what issue one is. It's a setup of here's how cool this guy is, see how he deals with the situation. Then, okay, we're getting into the origin of him and his sister, and then here's a little bite at the end so that you know there's more coming in the next three issues. So I think that's going to be a very important issue. I know everybody, a lot of customers around here pick up every first appearance Star Wars thing, but the fact that this character is the best at fighting with lightsabers, it's a pretty big deal. It's not his first appearance, but character very closely related. But you do get the origin. So here are the variants. Here is the McCrae variant for that. That lightsaber's going everywhere. And then we have the 1 in 25 Baldian variant we're selling to our customers for $25. Okay, next up. Oh yeah, this is fun. This is great. So it is Tales from Earth 6, a celebration of Stan Lee by DC. That's right, Stan Lee's big name on a DC book because these are all characters that he did before. If any of you have ever read Stan Lee's Envisions or yeah, I can't remember the exact title of it, but basically Stan Lee years back, I think in the 90s, he did a series of one-shots where he invented his version of DC characters. Whenever those come through, they always sell in my shop very easily. People are always just sort of entranced to see that. I mean, why wouldn't you be? So DC was smart enough to go ahead and do another one. Now, of course, these Stan Lee didn't write this one, but it takes his characters and a lot of other writers get behind this. This is a very thick book. I would say it's nearing 100 pages. Um, yeah, it's 96 pages. And so it has a bunch of characters, mainly the Justice League, but there's been a lot of people in the Justice League, so I'll go through it. It's got Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Flash, Shazam, Aquaman, but then there's some people outside of the Justice League, like Catwoman and also Sandman, all of which, Stan Lee had done his one shots on before. There's a story for each one of those characters in this. And then there's a story with the entire Justice League at the end. One of the other cool parts is there's a bunch of pages at the end, just one page per character that has their picture, and then it has their power set and their biography and their history written out real nicely. If I didn't have so many comics to go over today, I would have read every inch of that, and I will later tonight. But I always like that sort of thing. It's like going back to the days where you have the comic cards and you get the characters' powers and all. This isn't done in a hard manner. It's just a single page for each character, but I'm really glad when they do things like that. So that is all I will say about that. I think the people who want to read that will know they want to read it based on that. And now I get to do my favorite part. I get to go through the variants because the variants are going to show you all the characters. So here we go. I want to get the correct artist names right for everything. So this is the Beach Batman variant. You can see Stan Lee, he had created a very much more lean into the Batman. We have the, there we go. There it is. The Panosian Catwoman. Now, it looks a lot like regular Catwoman, but it looks like, longer claws perhaps, and cats may be an actual part of her power constantly. This one's very different. It is the Corona and Stern Aquaman cover. Aquaman is more like made up of water and bubbles and such. This is the Colin Superman variant, a lot more like Miracle Man. That's sort of what the vibe I get on Stanley's version of Superman. Then we have the Henry and Malolo variant cover with Stanley's Wonder Woman. We have the Ward variant with his version of the Flash. Did it get more bright and colorful? We have the Potts and Brown variant of Stanley's version of Shazam. I gave it a pause. I want people to wonder, like, who is that? I would think more like Doomsday or something, but no, this is Stanley's version of Shazam. And then here is the Howard variant with Green Lantern on it. We're almost there. The Jones and Martin Sandman, which is really interesting. He almost looks a little bit more like Destiny. And then I must have misplaced it. There's also a variant cover. There's the Rossimo and Placencia Justice League of America cover. Like it has the whole Justice League together on it. So if I come across that later, I will show you. I am like swimming in comics and variants here today, so I'm not surprised that one got somewhere else. Okay. So what is on the docket next? So next up, we have, yes, Amazing Spider-Man issue 16, part of Dark Web. So this is a great issue. This is sort of the fight we were waiting for. This is Peter Parker versus Ben Riley as Chasm. In this one, it kind of starts right out the gate with Chasm. We get to see one of his memories of how bad Peter treated him, and you can see how fried his brain is because his memory makes Peter so much meaner than Peter would ever be. And Chasm's mind has been messed with quite a bit, all the trauma he's been through. So it's kind of a funny scene. You get to see like a what if of how he thinks Peter has treated him. The rest of the issue is a battle between them as Peter tries to talk him back from the ledge that he has gone over. And Chasm just tells him, no, I blame you for everything. In fact, Chasm has a plan to get Peter in limbo where he thinks he can defeat him. You'll have to see what Chasm does to make this happen. Also in this issue, there's a little bit of Goblin Queen's in a little, and Hallows Eve is in this one too, and she displays more of her powers, which I'm really interested in. She puts on like a mask, and I can't tell if she put the rest of the costume on, but I feel like she put a mask on and can turn into whatever costume thing she's going to become. Like if she puts on like a creature for Black Lagoon mask, she'll suddenly be basically a creature for Black Lagoon. She's not in a lot, but there is a little bit of that I thought was really cool. The main thing here is definitely Peter Parker versus Ben Riley as Chasm. So we got some variants. Looks like my variants got a little out of order somehow. See if I can find this. Aha! Yes, here they are. Okay, so we've got the McGinnis variant with the battle right there, hand on the throat. We've got this very cool Ryan Stegman variant. That just looks awesome. And then here is the 1 in 25 Bagley variant we're selling to our customers for $20. And where I found those, guess what? I found the Earth 6 ones I was looking for. So here's that entire Justice League variant I had mentioned. A lot going on, a lot to take in with that one. And then here's a 1 in 25 Hamner variant that we're selling to our customers for $25. Okay, so next up. Next up, we have Harley Quinn issue number 25. This, of course, is done by the awesome team of Stephanie Phillips with art by Matteo Loli. But this time, David Baldian also helps on some of the interior art, which is really cool. So this issue, we saw at the end of last issue, the Harley who laughs seems to be the person who killed Harley before. And it looks like she's trying to kill all the Harleys through all the multiverses so she could be the only one. Well, this issue, we start out with a Harley from a different multiverse. It is Old Lady Harley, and we get to see a little bit of what she's like in her timeline, which we've seen before, but this time Stephanie Phillips is writing her. So it's really cool. And then the Harley who doesn't laugh shows up. Well, long story short, through a series of events, you'll have to find out by reading it, modern Harley teams up with old lady Harley in modern Harley's time. Like basically, old lady Harley comes to the regular DC universe, and her and Harley team up. Which that's probably my favorite part is the two of them hanging out. Like Harley being able to talk to an old version of herself, and just the banter between them, the questions, what they say. It's really cool. That was probably my favorite part. But the two of them have to take on the Harley who laughs, who is very very powerful. Let's see what else. And what I'll also say is a lot of sources I also, as I read these, I look and see what other people are talking about because usually it is often sort of speculated. They didn't read it yet. A lot of sources are saying a ton of Harleys from the multiverse are in this. It's sort of a last panel thing. Okay, a lot of Harleys from multiverses do pop in, sort of last panel. Looks like they'll be in the next issue, and one appears to be like a Batmite version of Harley. So that's some of what is going on in Harley Quinn issue number 25. And let's see what my variants are. Here they are. We've got the Kaplan variant. A little late for Christmas, but not by too much. Then we have the Matina Harley Who Laughs variant. And lastly, we have the Edgecure 1 in 50 variant we're selling to our customers for 45 bucks. So next up, we have Moon Knight issue number 16, or wait a minute. Nope, this is issue 18. I just read it earlier, but so much to read today. Hard to keep up with all the numbering and everything. And of course, I've read every issue of this since it came out. So last issue, Moon Knight and Tigra had just entered the base of the vampires because their assassins had gravely injured Hunter's Moon. Like Moon Knight just had it with them. So they had entered the base, and this is the issue where they have the big fight against the main vampire and all his minions. This happens in the book, and Moon Knight does have a plan. He has a special plan how he could particularly defeat a whole lot of vampires, but you'll have to read it to find out what exactly that is because they need their revenge. Um, Also, I will say it looks like there are hints in this issue that Zodiac may be coming back into the comic really soon, which I'm happy. He was a very good villain, and I feel like he's sort of a major Moon Knight villain. The vampires have been good, but Zodiac, I think I'm really looking forward to his return. So as far as the variants, we just have two of them on this. We have the Peach Momoko variant, and we have this 1 in 25 Kyle Hotz variant. We're selling for $20. Okay, so next up, People who are fans of the Sandman universe rejoice because Dead Boy Detectives has a new miniseries starting. So this one is going to be 6 issues. And for those of you who don't know, Dead Boy Detectives, they've had 2 other miniseries. They had one in 2001 that was 4 issues, and they had one in 2014, which was 12 issues. So this is actually not their first miniseries, but it's just a lot for the writers to draw from in the past. I did not really have a chance to read this much. I think people are going to kind of know if they are interested in Dead Boy Detectives or not. But I will mention is this Dead Boy Detectives are option. They're making an HBO series of it. So I don't know if people have heard of that. This is written by Pornsek Pinchotet. And I butchered the last name, but you tried at home. The art is done by Jeff Stokely. Just want everybody to be aware that that is out this week. It's got variants, some of which may creep you out a little bit. The variants are here is the Crook variant, and then here is the Ekman Lawn variant. This is the one, like creepy. You're looking through what hopefully is a ghost, and there are the Dead Boy Detectives on the other side. Okay. Next up is Venom issue number 14, which is also a dark web tie-in issue. We got old style Venom fighting Spider-Man. That's been a lot of what this is. So this, of course, is by Al Ewing and Brian Hitch. And in this, we get to see the moment where Eddie is turned back into a more classic Venom, like Chasm and Goblin Queen. We already, if you were reading Amazing Spider-Man, you know this has kind of happened where he's that monstrous Venom again. Well, this is where Eddie has to talk with them. You get to see how did they convince him, or did they really convince him? You'll have to read to see that. There's also some Hallows Evas in this book as well. They're really spreading her out everywhere. She's a really interesting character. So in this issue, once Venom turns into sort of the old style Venom, he actually ends up attacking the X-Men. Funny enough, that's basically what this issue is about: is monstrous Venom attacks a bunch of the X-Men. So here are your variants for it. You've got the LaRocca Extreme variant with Venom with a bunch of guns, like he needs those. I guess, hits things at a distance. And then here's the 1 in 25 Stegman variant we're selling to our customers for $20. Stegman sure has drawn a lot of Venom covers at this point. Okay, so next up, here's a character we have not seen a whole lot of lately, John Stewart, the Emerald Knight. This is a one-shot. So for a one shot like this, you kind of have to wonder why do they put it out? I can tell you right now, this is supposed to sort of reset him a little bit, or I guess set him on a different course. But also, this issue gives him reason why, because he's way out there in space. Okay, he's way out there. It's sort of why is he gonna by the end head back towards Earth? In addition, he becomes the character Emerald Knight, which is just sort of him super powered up and with a green sword. Um, this was written by Jeffrey Thorne with art by Marco Santucci. And, it starts with John Stewart. He's leading the Emerald Guard against Phalanx. Eventually, they go up against things even more powerful than Phalanx. But luckily, he is going to become the Emerald Knight, and you get to see how that happens, what happens with that. And the other forces that he leads, they also have green swords now too. Ah, a lot of talking without a break. So as far as variant, we have the this is the J Hero variant for the one shot, John Stewart, the Emerald Knight. So I think we're going to see him back in the regular DC universe very soon. I mean, that's the point of this one shot. Okay, so next up is Carnage, issue number 8. So I'm going to go through a lot of these a little quicker now that I'm past sort of the super major ones. Some of these I just had to skim through because without Andy here, there was just too much to fully read. In this one, Cletus Cassidy is back. This is a very Cletus Cassidy based issue where most of the story is him scaring a live streamer, like a live streamer who does like spooky live streams. He's gonna do one in the orphanage where Cleus Cassidy grew up. He doesn't know that. He just is some creepy orphanage. Well, Cleus Cassidy's hanging out in there and he just tells him a story that scares him. You'll have to see if by the end he ends up dead or alive. But a good issue of Carnage, sort of, it felt self-contained, but it's not because you could definitely tell Cassie's going to come back into this. Carnage is in it. His stuff with Malekith is sort of at the beginning. There's a little of that, but it quickly veers into the Cletus Cassidy story. So here is the variant. This is the John Boy Myers variant. And spiky. Okay, so let's see. Next up is Detective Comics, issue number 1067. This is, of course, is by the team of Ram V and Ivan Rice. So Mr. Freeze on the cover, that's he is in it a good bit. So in this one, the Orgums have announced that they're going to build something new where Arkham Asylum used to be. I have to say, about time. That asylum has been nothing but trouble. But we know the Orgums have come into this storyline and they claim that's their ancestral land. They want it over. Now they're going to build something. But more than that, you have it where Bruce Wayne gets a surprise guest when Prince Orgum visits him at his the apartment place that he lives now, and they make an offer to Wayne Enterprises to purchase the Narrows. The Narrows is sort of like the poor part of Gotham, and where they're trying to help people there through the Wayne Foundation, but a lot of crimes there. Well, the Organs want to purchase it, and what I'll say is, it turns out that they have these creepy masks. You'll have to see them for yourself. That have powers that are very useful when you're doing business dealings. So if you want to see how exactly that works, you will have to read the issue. There's also, in the latter part of this issue, more on Two-Face and all the torment he's going through. But as far as Mr. Freeze actually gives Batman a bit of help for once. I think for every four times Mr. Freeze is bad, there's one time he actually tries to help Batman, and that's in this issue a little bit. So here are our variants. Let's see, we've got the Lee and Williams and Sinclair variant, that new trifecta that's been doing all those covers together. And if that's not enough, they did a second one together. Jim Lee, Williams, and Sinclair Christmas variant. All these ones are sort of holiday cards where they're turned sideways. And lastly, there's a 1 in 25 Doran variant we're selling to our customers for $25. Is Batman peaceful or is he dying? It's hard to tell. I think it looks more peaceful. Why he's in the full bat suit doing that, I don't know. Maybe it's a public place where, it's like, I could get away with it. I'm in a suit. Nobody knows my identity. Okay. So now, this is Dark Web X-Men number 2. So this is one of the ones I just flipped through pretty quickly just to see if there was anything important where I did not have trouble to read the whole, or trouble at time to read the whole thing. But what I'll say is this: in this one, it looks like they're finally setting up a confrontation that we're waiting for, which is, you see in the background the Goblin Queen, Madeline Pryor. So who would we want her to be confronted by? Well, Jean Grey. So this is sort of the X-Men fighting their way to her, and it sort of ends up where it looks like Jean Grey and Madeline Pryor are going to have a bit of a confrontation. In fact, it starts at the end of this one with Jean Grey doing something pretty mean to her, but she pretty much deserves it. So I wanted to mention that that is out this week, and I want to show the variants for it. Variant, I should say, there's just one. This is the Silva variant for Dark Web X-Men number 2. And this is a 3-issue mini, I believe, so just one more issue of that to go. Okay, next up, we have another X-Men book, Extreme X-Men #2. It's the new Chris Claremont book where he goes back to the team from the early 2000s. This time they have added Kitty Pryde to their team. I did not actually read this one, so I just wanted to show it because it has some pretty awesome variants. But I do want to make everyone aware that issue #2 is out for Extreme X-Men #2 this week. As far as the variants, though, we have the David Nakayama variant. I'm a big fan of Nakayama. You would know him from his DNA signature down there. We have the Peach Momoko variant. And then check this one out. This one's pretty cool. This is the rug variant, the homage variant. I mean, that looks good. That looks so good. They even made the white of the paper look like it's oxidized a little bit. You know, it's sort of off-white. So this is the rug variant. And then there's a 1 in 10 LaRocca design variant that we're selling for $10 with his version of Bishop on it. Okay. So, next up, Star Wars The High Republic issue #3 is out. This, of course, is the second volume of High Republic that just started late this year. I realize the year's about to change. Late this year of 2022, in case you watch this video a week from now. Um, Usually it's around issue #3, I've noticed, with the Star Wars series, that they will put in like some really important first appearance that everybody will chase years later. This does have a first appearance. I'm not saying that that is it, though. I did not read this book. I just flipped through it a little bit, just enough to see what was going on in it. It has the first appearance of Oaklane Viss, who is a captain, a falling captain of the Guardians of Wills. So, first appearance of a character named Oaklane Viss. I can't really tell how super important. You know how Star Wars books are; they have a lot of first appearances, but if I were a betting man, I'd buy issue #1s, probably like three, like at least 1 through 5, but typically 1, 3, 5, somewhere around there. I don't know what it is. That's where they slide in the character that they're actually going to do a bunch with. So here is the variant. This is the Laming variant for High Republic #3. And now we have more Star Wars. I'm going to do 2 more in a row. So the next one is Yoda, issue #2. And like the others, I'm just kind of showing some of these. These are the ones that obviously Andy would read. Andy is our Star Wars person. I like Star Wars, but I can't hold a candle to how much Andy truly loves Star Wars, which is so amazing that he gets to work on some of the comics now. And here is the Pod Knock variant for Yoda #2. And I think the Yoda series, I can't remember how many issues it's going to be. I think it's a maxi, if I can't. Was it a 12 issue? But issue #2 is out this week. There's also this Wingard variant for it. And next is Dr. Aphra, #27, is out this week. And this also has that 20-year since episode 2 variant by Wingard. So that's what the little logo down there means on the Wingard ones. Okay, so after that, we have, oh, I see, we've got Strange Academy Finals #3. This is a series by Scotty Young with art by Humberto Ramos. And this issue, I've been reading Strange Academy. I didn't have time to read it heavily, but I did flip through it. The kids are trying to save Calvin from Gaslamp, and they end up having to fight Suma Garath, actually, at least a little bit, on their way of trying to kind of get to Gaslamp to save Calvin. That's generally what I saw going on in that issue. I'm always looking to see if there's any major other things, like a character I don't know or anything like that, when I have to do this quickly. And as far as the variants for it, we have the Weaver trading card variant with Zoe Laveau, showing off her zombie voodoo magic. Then we have a John Tyler Christopher action figure variant for Doyle Dormammu. And we have a 1 in 25 Davila variant we are selling to our customers for $15. Okay, so let's see. So that puts me back over at that end with She-Hulk number 9. So I give this a quick read, and the main thing I will say is there's a part in this where She-Hulk literally rips through the fourth wall. Like, you'll have to see it. Like, she literally rips through the fourth wall and starts speaking through the fourth wall. You'll have to see what leads up to that, why she does it. Um, it's still the Jack of Hearts storyline, and it relates. This does not resolve that storyline. We're getting close to the end of it, though, but I'd say that's the most noteworthy part of it. And only in a series like She-Hulk can you get away with something like that. But we have a few variants to show you. We have the Ruin Stream variant. Then we have, this one's really cool. This is the Hafu Demonized variant, which of course is an homage to one of the She-Hulk number ones of a previous series. And then lastly, we have a Peach Momoko variant. Okay, so I think the one of the last ones I'm going to show, I have others I'm going to talk about, is Nice House on the Lake number 12. It's the final issue of this series. Really sad to see it ending. I did not sit down and read through this yet. I just want to make people aware the final issue of this is out as of tomorrow. And there is a variant. It's another Sorrentino variant, as you would expect, for the final issue of Nice House on the Lake. Okay, so the last thing I want to mention is I just went over 20 comics that are coming out tomorrow and Wednesday, many of which I read. The rest I at least skimmed through for the most part. I show off all their variants, all the incentives, but there are even more comics coming out than this. So I am just going to talk about them now. Uh, for one reason, I don't have them is one of our shipments has not arrived yet because of the holidays. It typically arrives on Monday. And it's not going to be here until tomorrow. I didn't want to delay the video, so the people who do Diamond, who ships us our indie comics, they're not here yet. So one of the big books I'm missing is Book of Slaughter. This is a one shot that is supposed to be the beginning for the next chapters of Something's Killing the Children and House of Slaughter. I was really looking forward to reading that one. I read all the Slaughter stuff gladly. The Book of Slaughter #1, which is a one shot, is also out this week. We'll have it on our shelves on Wednesday by Wednesday, but want to let you know, look for it at your shop. Another one I wish I could have reviewed is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 #1. The two already had a crossover. It was very popular. Well, this is their second crossover a few years later. Issue #1 is also out this week. So here's the rest. Here's the other, what, 16 comics that I think are noteworthy this week that I don't have time to show them all, review them all. Creepshow issue #4 is coming out for those of you who have enjoyed that anthology horror. For your Spawn fans, King Spawn issue #18 is out this week. Captain America Symbol of Truth #8 is out. For Trad Moore fans, which I hope a lot of you are, Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise #2 is out this week. You can tell I have so many books to show off that that wasn't one of the ones I featured because I like Trad Moore stuff a lot. Midnight Suns #4 is out this week. The next Murder World one shot, Murder World Spider-Man, is out this week. New Mutants issue 33 is out this week. Batman Beyond the White Knight #7. Batman Gothic Knights Gilded City #3. You knew there had to be some more Batman books or Batman the title books out this week. Blue Beetle Graduation Day #2 is out this week. Sergeant Rock vs. Army of Dead #4. DC vs. Vampires 12. Punchline The Gotham Game #3. Riddler Year One issue #2 by actor writer Paul Dano is out this week. Tim Drake Robin #4, and lastly, and I know if Andy were here, he would have read this and reviewed it. Exterminators #4, that awesome and crazy and almost over the line Marvel book that everyone's been enjoying. So those are the other 18 comics that I did not have a chance to get to. Why is this week so big? Like I said at the beginning, it was a holiday last week. They didn't want to put too many comics out around Christmas. Next week, New Year's. So at some point, a lot of comics had to fall, and it's this week. And of course, I have to be by my lonesome. Please, Andy, come back quickly. So now that is my show for this week. I hope I have done my job and I have told you what comics are coming out. I've given you, to the best of my abilities, as much knowledge as I could in as quick a time as I could, even though I'm sure this was still long. Tonight, if you walk in your store, you know what you want to buy, what you want to read, and why. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. I'll be back on Friday with some sort of video. I would say for sure comics from the future, but once again, there is no Marvel and no DC books to order next week. Maybe there'll be some indie ones I can talk about, but surely I'll come up with something. So, anyway, thank you very much for watching, and until then, have a great rest of your day.